A delicate balance, the India-China border, a region fraught with historical tensions and strategic importance. The India-China border is a complex and tense geopolitical fault line, where the stakes are incredibly high for both nations. It stretches over 3,488 kilometers, encompassing rugged terrain and high-altitude regions, making it one of the most challenging borders in the world. This border has been a source of conflict and mistrust between the two Asian giants for decades, with each side wary of the other's intentions. The lack of a mutually agreed-upon boundary has led to several confrontations, including a full-blown war in 1962 which left deep scars. The disputed border is often referred to as the Line of Actual Control, or LAC, a term that underscores the ongoing uncertainty. However, the perception of where the LAC lies differs significantly between India and China, leading to frequent standoffs. This ambiguity has fueled tensions and military buildups, with both sides fortifying their positions. Both countries maintain a heavy military presence along the border, ready to respond to any perceived threats. Despite the ongoing tensions, India and China have made attempts to resolve the border issue through dialogue, seeking a peaceful resolution. Several rounds of talks have been held over the years, with varying degrees of success. However, progress has been slow, and a lasting solution remains elusive. The unresolved border dispute has significant implications for regional stability and global geopolitics, affecting not just the two nations, but the entire world. It is a key factor influencing the relationship between the world's two most populous nations, shaping their interactions on the global stage. Lines in the sand, tracing the historical roots. The historical roots of the India-China border dispute can be traced back to the early 20th century, a period marked by significant geopolitical shifts. The collapse of the Qing dynasty in China and the rise of British colonialism in India created a power vacuum in the Himalayan region, leading to competing territorial claims. The British, eager to secure their northern frontiers and expand their influence, drew up their own boundary lines, often without local consultation. One such line was the McMahon Line, proposed by British diplomat Henry McMahon in 1914 during the Simla Convention. It aimed to define the border between British India and Tibet, a region of strategic importance for both British India and China. However, China never officially accepted this line, viewing it as an imposition by colonial powers. They considered Tibet to be part of their territory, and any agreements made without their consent were deemed invalid. Another contentious area is Aksai Chin, a remote and desolate region. This high-altitude desert region is claimed by India as part of Ladakh, but controlled and administered by China as part of Xinjiang, adding to the complexity. Aksai Chin holds strategic importance due to its location and the infrastructure built by China. It connects Tibet to Xinjiang and provides China with a critical road link, enhancing their logistical capabilities in the region. The differing interpretations of historical agreements and the lack of clear demarcation on the ground continue to fuel the border dispute, making resolution challenging. These historical complexities form the backdrop for the ongoing tensions between India and China, influencing their diplomatic and military strategies to this day. The 1962 war, a turning point in bilateral relations. The year 1962 marked a turning point in India-China relations. A border war erupted between the two countries, driven by the unresolved territorial disputes and a breakdown in diplomatic communication. The war lasted for a month and resulted in a decisive victory for China. The 1962 war had a profound impact on the relationship between India and China. It led to a period of estrangement and heightened mistrust. India embarked on a significant military buildup to strengthen its defenses along the border. The war also had long-lasting consequences for India's foreign policy. It reinforced the perception of China as a potential threat. This perception continues to shape India's strategic calculations. Despite the war, both countries have maintained that a peaceful resolution to the border dispute is in their best interests. However, the legacy of the 1962 war continues to cast a long shadow on bilateral relations. A history of skirmishes, from agreements to standoffs. Since the 1962 war, the India-China border has witnessed numerous incidents of skirmishes and standoffs. Despite signing agreements to maintain peace and tranquility along the LAC, these incidents highlight the volatile nature of the dispute. One notable incident occurred in 1987, known as the Sumdorong Chu standoff. Both sides mobilized troops, leading to a tense military confrontation. The standoff was eventually diffused through diplomatic channels. In 2013, another standoff occurred in Depsang, Ladakh. Chinese troops reportedly set up a camp inside Indian-claimed territory. This incident demonstrated the continuing potential for escalation along the LAC. The 2017 Doklam standoff brought the two countries to the brink of conflict. It involved a dispute over a plateau claimed by both China and Bhutan, an ally of India. The standoff lasted for 73 days and raised concerns about a wider military confrontation. Section 5, the LAC today, a tightrope walk of militarization and trade. The line of actual control, or LAC today is, well, a complex and dynamic environment, fraught with tension and uncertainty. Both India and China have significantly enhanced their military infrastructure and troop deployments along the border, making it one of the most heavily militarized regions in the world. This militarization reflects the deep mistrust and strategic rivalry between the two countries, a rivalry that has historical roots and contemporary implications. India has been upgrading its border infrastructure at a rapid pace. It has constructed new roads, bridges, and other critical infrastructure to ensure better connectivity, and airstrips to improve connectivity and facilitate troop movement, ensuring that its forces can be mobilized quickly if needed. The Indian Army has also deployed advanced weaponry and equipment along the LAC, including state-of-the-art surveillance systems. China, on the other hand, has a well-established military presence in Tibet, which serves as a strategic advantage. It has built an extensive network of roads, making troop and equipment movement more efficient, railways and air bases, further strengthening its logistical capabilities. The Chinese People's Liberation Army, or PLA, maintains a large number of troops in the region, conducting regular military exercises. Despite the military buildup, India and China are also major trading partners, with economic ties that are crucial for both nations. Bilateral trade between the two countries has grown significantly in recent years, reaching new heights. This economic interdependence adds another layer of complexity to the relationship, making it a delicate balance of competition and cooperation. Section 6, Charting the Future. Scenarios for the India-China border dispute. The future of the India-China border dispute remains uncertain. Several scenarios are possible, ranging from a peaceful resolution to a prolonged stalemate, or even escalation. The trajectory of the dispute will depend on several factors. One scenario is a negotiated settlement. Both countries could engage in sincere dialogue, make compromises, and demarcate the LAC. However, this scenario seems unlikely in the near future given the deep mistrust and competing territorial claims. Another scenario is a prolonged stalemate. The current situation could continue indefinitely, with both sides maintaining a heavy military presence along the border. This scenario would likely involve periodic skirmishes and standoffs. A more concerning scenario is escalation. A miscalculation or an unexpected incident could trigger a larger conflict between India and China. The consequences of such a conflict would be devastating for both countries and the region. Section 7. Global Stakes, International Implications and Alliances. The India-China border dispute has significant global implications. The rivalry between the world's two most populous nations has the potential to reshape the geopolitical landscape. It is closely watched by the international community. The United States, under the Biden administration, has expressed concerns about China's assertive behavior in the region. The U.S. has strengthened its strategic partnership with India. This partnership is seen as a counterbalance to China's growing influence. Russia, traditionally a close ally of India, has also been strengthening its ties with China. Russia's stance on the border dispute is nuanced. It has called for a peaceful resolution through dialogue. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, is another key player in the region. Several ASEAN members have territorial disputes with China in the South China Sea. They are closely watching the developments along the India-China border. Section 8. The Path Forward. Diplomacy, Dialogue, and Mutual Respect. The path forward for resolving the India-China border dispute lies in diplomacy, dialogue, and mutual respect. Both countries must recognize that a peaceful resolution is in their best interests. Sustained and high-level dialogue is essential to build trust and address the underlying issues. Confidence-building measures such as military disengagement and agreements on border management can help reduce tensions. It is crucial for both sides to exercise restraint and avoid actions that could escalate the situation. Responsible behavior and adherence to international norms are essential for maintaining peace and stability. Section 9. Conclusion: a shared future. The India-China border dispute presents a complex challenge. It is a legacy of history, fueled by mistrust and strategic rivalry. However, both countries have a shared interest in peace and stability. Resolving the border dispute will require political will, diplomatic skill, and a commitment to finding a mutually acceptable solution. The international community can play a constructive role by encouraging dialogue and confidence-building measures. The future of Asia, and indeed the world, depends on the ability of India and China to manage their differences and build a more cooperative relationship. A peaceful and prosperous future is possible if both countries choose dialogue over confrontation.